What's going on, guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, before we do this first impressions video, I just want to thank each and every one of you guys out there for supporting and sharing the videos. If you didn't see my Twitter feed or my Instagram feed, I announced that we finally hit 800 subscribers on the channel. We're almost to our goal of 1,000 subs. That was my goal before the end of the year. Hopefully we hit 1,000 subscribers before 2022, but if not, it's okay, because I am grateful for the 800 of you who are here on my channel joining me on this grand adventure of gaming and everything else related. But I thank you guys so much for just kind of tuning into my videos and sharing and commenting, all that. It means the world, seriously. So I thank you guys so much for just kind of being here as I explore this content creation game and just bring you guys dope reviews and just dope content in general. But the reason why you guys are here is I wanted to talk about my first impressions with No More Heroes 3. As you see here, I have the physical game right here. I went to my local Best Buy and picked this game up the day that it came out, so I was super excited. No More Heroes 3 is actually was one of my most anticipated games on the Nintendo Switch. You know, as I wait patiently for Bayonetta 3, No More Heroes 3 was something that I could look forward to. If you guys been following the channel for a while, you saw that I reviewed both No More Heroes 1 and No More Heroes 2 here on the channel, and if you missed out on those reviews, click down below and you can watch those reviews. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about my first impressions when it comes to No More Heroes 3. As always, for these videos, I took a couple notes on my phone, just kind of so we can kind of keep things focused and keep things moving, so you know I'm just not rambling on and on. So the first point I want to make, when we look at the game itself and we talk about the story, so the story for this game is pretty much what you would come to expect from a No More Heroes game. You know, we have 10 super villains that we have to fight in the galactic ranking. So of course with 1 and 2, it was the Assassination Association. This time it's the galaxy ranking. We have 10 celestial alien beings that came down to Earth that want to take over, center, destroy the Earth for, I guess, Earth domination, I guess, for, you know, taking over planets and stuff like that. And their leader, Fu, which is actually one of my favorite design villains ever. Like, I love how Fu looks in this game. The way that he's animated is pretty cool. But the story is pretty simple. You know, you have aliens, you know, their leader, Fu. You have, you know, 9 other aliens come down. They want to take over the world. It's up to Travis, Touchdown, and friends to stop them. So that is the main story of the game. Nothing super complex. If you know anything about No More Heroes, you can't take the story too seriously, because the game doesn't even take itself seriously. So the story is pretty simple and, you know, pretty straightforward to follow. So it's nothing too complex there. So when we start talking about the game itself, number one, I want to give Suda51 and the team over at Grasshopper, you know, props for how this game looks. Now, No More Heroes always had kind of like a simplistic style, and it was actually one of the best looking games on the original Nintendo Wii. And on the Nintendo Switch, I like what they did here with the graphics. I like the details in the models with, you know, Shinobu and Travis, Touchdown. I had a tongue twister there. They all look good. I like how the models look. Again, I love how Fu in particular is animated. Like, again, I can't state this enough. Fu is probably one of my favorite design villains in pretty much any video game. I just like how he looks and how he animates. He kind of has like this creepy look to him, but it's pretty cool. Now, the game opens up with this beautiful anime cutscene, and I actually wouldn't mind if, you know, they actually did a spin-off of this particular story in an anime fashion, because I love how this anime style cutscene looks. Like, you open up with, you know, this kid, he finds like this alien being, you know, I guess they become best friends, and then Fu promised him he's gonna come back 20 years later, which he helped tighten that promise, and long and behold, he came back and he wanted world domination, so here we are. So I like the way the anime cutscenes look. Again, I would not mind if Suda51 and the team over there made like a spin-off anime series. I would definitely watch, you know, that if they decide to do 10 episodes of that. And even when you complete one of the bosses for the galactic ranking, it ends kind of like, they kind of got like this Netflix style screen that comes up where like it shows the credits, and then it shows like the next episode is starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I thought that was a pretty cool touch as well. There's a lot of like pop culture references here. You know, they reference the MCU. They mention different Nintendo things like Goombas and stuff like that. So there's a lot of breaking the fourth wall, as always with No More Heroes. Like I said, what do you expect? So the game looks good. I like the flow and style of the game already. Again, I'm only 2 hours in, so this is just a first impression. So of course the final review is going to be more concise and more focused. Number two, let's talk about the combat. So the combat in this game is definitely not as mindless as No More Heroes 1 and 2. Now, more so 2, because a lot of times in 2, I felt like I was just pressing one button or a combination of the same buttons and just blazing through every enemy. Nothing really put up a challenge in No More Heroes 2. No More Heroes 1 was definitely a little bit more challenging. I don't know if that was due to sheer difficulty or just some of the way the hitboxes were, some of the artificial difficulty there. But No More Heroes 3, I feel like strikes a beautiful balance. The game is definitely harder, and the game kind of punish you for things that they encouraged in previous games. So like with No More Heroes 2, it kind of encourages you to kind of just wail on enemies and spam attacks. In No More Heroes 3, that is not the case. Your energy meter drains so quick. Enemies do not get stunned easily, and they will actually break your combos in this game. I remember I was fighting the first boss, mr.blackhole, and I'm just like, I'm ready to go. I'm cocky with him, like I'm finna go in, and little, as to my surprise, he went in on me too. So you definitely cannot spam attacks in this game because they will punish you for it. So just keep that in mind when you're playing. I like how they expanded the combos as well. I definitely feel like Travis is more capable, and as you level up your character, you'll definitely get more moves, and you can expand his moveset, which definitely makes the combat more fun. Now, one thing I do like is they have something like kind of like a witch time type mechanic. If you dodge at the very last second of an attack, you know, everything kind of goes in slow motion. You can just like attack your enemies nonstop, similar to Bayonetta's witch time. So I thought that was a pretty cool touch as well. So the combat is definitely the best out of all the No More Heroes games. I definitely dig this combat a lot, despite how difficult some of these enemies can be, but it's fun. Now again, the boss designs. This kind of goes back to what I said about Fu. I love how these bosses look, especially Fu, especially all the other bosses. I like the alien aesthetic. You know, when we played No More Heroes 1 and 2, we were mainly fighting humans or supernatural humans and things like that, but they were still humans. You know, they still had human looks and whatnot. I like the extraterrestrial alien look. It definitely switches things up and gives them a little bit more to play around with in terms of enemy variety. You know, that's another thing that I noticed as well when you're doing the Defender missions. You run into different types of enemies, and they kind of give you a debrief of what the enemy is and their attack patterns and stuff like that. So I do like the fact that they're using aliens this time around opposed to humans, because one thing that I did not like about No More Heroes 1 and 2, the enemies seem very repetitive. You know, in No More Heroes 2 in particular, you had a couple of your fat guys, you had a couple of regular humans, and it wasn't really a lot of variety. Here in No More Heroes 3, I feel like the enemy variety is a lot much wider than before. So that's also good, and it kind of kills the, you know, stops the repetitiveness of previous games. So the boss design, the enemy designs, fantastic. Now, the music. Now, I gave No More Heroes 2 praise on its soundtrack, but I'm definitely gonna have to give No More Heroes 3 praise on the soundtrack. The song that plays when you're riding around Center Destroy, or just the open world in general, the song that plays when you stop by the sushi bar, the music that plays when you're just going through the stages, I love this soundtrack. So props to Suda51 and Grasshopper. This soundtrack is it. Like, I definitely want to get this OST once it's available. So the music, fantastic. And number 5, Fu. What can I say? I like Fu. Fu is the standout character for me already. Like, granted, I'm only 2 hours in, 2 bosses in, so I've only been introduced to Mr. Blackhole and Gold Joe. But so far, man, Fu is definitely the most memorable villain out of all the villains that we faced in No More Heroes. So props to them for developing this character, and definitely when hopefully we get merchandise for this game, so I can get me a Fu poster or a Fu sticker or a Fu figure or something. I want something with Fu on it, okay? So yeah, man, that's all the things that I like. Now, I do want to kind of highlight some of the things I'm not too fond of. And again, I want you guys to take in mind, I'm only 2.5 hours into the game itself. So when I finally do the final review, a lot of what I say I may not like may change. So just keep that in mind. This is just a first impressions video. I have not completed the game yet. So number 1, coming off of Devil May Cry. If you guys are not aware, I'm reviewing the Devil May Cry series on my channel. Coming off of Devil May Cry, and this may just be my own thing, you know, this may not affect how you like the game, but I found the controls, because I'm playing this game with a pro controller, I find the controls are a little awkward. You know, you no longer have the melee attacks where Travis can punch and kick, so now you just have saber attacks, or you know, you just have the saber attacks, and you also have like the throw attacks. But I feel like they map something to every single button, and sometimes when I want to slash, I accidentally jump. Or if I want to dodge roll, I accidentally jump. You know, so I just feel like if they would have given me an option to kind of remap my controls to the way that I like and play comfortably, that would enhance my experience. Now, of course, you're going to adjust as you move forward through the game. And once I got to around like the second boss, it was no longer an issue. So I just kind of wish they had an option for me to customize my controls. So, you know, it's not as awkward as it was for me. Now, granted, it may not be awkward for you, so that may be highly subjective, but that's just something that I didn't really care for when I played it. Number two, I did not like, and this may be a small spoiler here, but I did not like how the mech controlled when I was fighting Mr.Blackhole, the final phase of his boss fight. I felt like the mech, they could have done something a little bit better with that. It doesn't feel as free-flowing. You know, I feel like with the mech, you know, I felt you feel like you're on rails, and I just feel like the flight controls were a bit awkward, you know. Also, like the shooting controls, I feel like those were a bit awkward as well. So I didn't really like how the mech felt, you know, when I'm controlling it during the boss fight. Now, granted, if there's another boss fight that introduces that mech again, I will mention that in the final review. But for what I played so far, even though the mech fight was epic, I didn't like how the mech controlled. So that just is a little small nitpick there. Number three, now this kind of goes back to the difficulty of the game. I don't like how fast your katana drains. Now, I know you can level up Travis if you go down to Naomi's laboratory, down in Travis's house. By the way, they don't mention that in the game. So if you're just playing this for the first time and you don't know how to upgrade Travis, when you're in his motel, you slide all the way down on the pole, you get to Naomi's laboratory, and there's like an arcade cabinet which you can spend points to level up Travis. So of course you can level up that, but even with the current level that I'm on, I think I'm on like level 3 or 4 with the katana energy, it still drains super quick. And I get it. This is to make the game a little bit more difficult, because if your katana drained as slow as it did in No More Heroes 1 or 2, you can just spam attacks. So I feel like the katana drains a little bit too quick. There'll be times where I'm like in the middle of an epic combo, and then I get that red notification. I'm just like, oh, I gotta shake the controller and get this katana back up and working. So I do feel like the katana drains super quick. Again, there may be an item you can equip, or once you get to a certain level, that may not be as bad of an issue. So we're gonna move on. Number 5, now this may change as well. There's no interactivity in the motel. So one thing that I loved about No More Heroes 2, and 1 in particular, is that you could interact with different things in a hotel, whether it was the television where you can play like, this own anime-esque shoot 'em up, or interact with the cat, which I think you can still do that. I think in No More Heroes 3, you can still interact with the cat. But yeah, you can buy like DVDs and watch them on the television and learn new wrestling moves. From what I played so far in No More Heroes 3, there is none of that. So really the only thing you can really do in the motel is save your game and change Travis's wardrobe. And I felt that a little disappointing, because I like the little mini games they had in the motels in No More Heroes 2, and to a lesser extent 1. So hopefully, as the game progresses, you'll start to unlock more things and that'll become a thing. And speaking of mini games, I also don't like the leveling system. I miss Ryan's gym. Now I know some people are mixed on that, but I am one of the few that actually enjoyed training Travis in the gym. Now granted, I'm only 2 hours in, so that could change, but I don't think it is. I think the Naomi arcade cabinet is going to be the primary way you're going to upgrade Travis. And I don't know, man, I like how they made leveling up Travis in previous games a mini game in itself. So I kind of wish they had something similar to that, but what can you say? And the next thing is, the game doesn't really tell you how to use the sushi that you get from the sushi bar, or how to level up Travis. So it is possible for you to go through the game, it's not recommended, that you go through the game without leveling up Travis much, because the game never really tells you like, hey, you can go down here and do this. I kind of found that out by accident, just by kind of exploring around, and maybe that was done on purpose. Maybe the developers wanted you to kind of explore and find these things out for yourself instead of them straight up telling you. But if you never played a No More Heroes game, you may not have known that Travis has a leveling system. So I kind of wish the game kind of told you a little bit more about how you can level up Travis, and even how to heal yourself. Like when I fought Mr. Blackhole, I bought these sushi rolls from the sushi bar, and I couldn't even use them because the game didn't tell me how I could access them. I saw them in my inventory, but the game didn't tell me how to do it. Now, if you're watching this and you don't know how to do it, the way that you do it is you're playing on the Pro Controller, you use the D-pad and you hit the left or right button and select the sushi roll that you want to use. And then once it's selected on the screen, you press the up button, or the up directional pad on the directional pad, and that's how you use the sushi. So for those who don't know, you're welcome. And that's pretty much it, man. Everything else is pretty good. Like I said, this is just a quick first impressions video about how I like the game. So far, I'm loving the combat. I'm loving the action. I'm loving the music. I'm loving the characters so far. The story seems great. I love the presentation. Even the open world this time around. I like the fact that we have different areas besides Sand and Destroy. Now, the open world is still kind of bland, but again, I like the fact that we have different areas that we can explore. So hopefully as I get further in the game, I'll find an area that I really, really like. So with that being said, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. As a note, I will be out of town this coming weekend, but I do have a lot of content scheduled out for you guys. So it's not gonna seem like I'm gone for that long. So, but I will be back next week, and then next week we're gonna continue on with the Devil May Cry marathon. But with that being said, guys, I am out. See you guys next time, and yeah, peace.